What's up, everybody? Andrew Mahone here with Tricky Jim at Full Grip Games. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the top 10 cards from Cosmic Eclipse, the largest Pokemon trading card game set ever released, and the last set in the Sun and Moon block. There are so many good cards in the set. I just made a buy list and posted it to my Twitter at enjoyfriend, ENJOI friend, if you want to scope that out. Also, if you're looking to pick up cards from this set, make sure to check out fullgripgames.com. Well, without wasting any more time, let's get into number 10. Coming in at number 10 is Oricorio GX. This card has got a great ability and two completely horrible attacks, like total stinkers. Please don't use them unless you're desperate. But the ability carries this card. It's Dance of Tribute, and it reads, once during your turn before you attack, if any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn, you may draw 3 cards. You can't use more than one Dance of Tribute ability each turn. This card is great for drawing out a reset stamp at the end of the game when your Pokemon gets knocked out and you need more cards in hand to make that comeback play happen or to make the game-winning play a reality. Oricorio GX is the perfect bench sitter for those scenarios. And it's Mysterious Treasure searchable, which is great news for Psychic-type decks. I think the only thing holding Oricorio GX back is the fact that tag team Pokemon are running rampant in both standard and expanded format right now, which means that less knockouts are happening throughout the course of the game, and Oricorio GX just has less opportunities to be useful. I think Oricorio GX will fit right into 1 or 2 prize decks. I'm thinking like Night March in expanded format, which gets its Pokemon knocked out all the time. Oricorio GX, easy to set up, you just slap it on the bench and it's good to go, and can help draw out of item lock, which is great news for Night March when its Pokemon gets knocked out. In standard format, I think Welder decks will really like Oricorio GX to help them find the fire energy and Welder they need to close out games. All in all, a super cool card, and I'm excited to see how Oricorio GX gets used in the formats to come. Reshiram and Zekrom, or Reshiram, or Reshi-Zek, or Zeki-Reshi, whatever floats your boat, at number 9. Now, some people might think this card belongs further up the list. Some people might think it doesn't belong on the list at all. There's a lot of hype surrounding this card right now. Whether or not that hype is deserved, still to be determined. But if there's one thing for sure, it's that Fabled Flare Bolts can easily deal 270 damage, one-hit KOing the most popular tag team Pokemon in both standard and expanded format, which is a big deal. Fabled Flare Bolts for a Fire and a Lightning does 90 times and reads, discard up to 3 in any combination of basic Fire and basic Lightning energy cards from your bench Pokemon. This attack does 90 damage for each card you discarded in this way. There's a lot of ways to accelerate Fire and Lightning energy in standard format. You got Tapu Koko Prism Star, Welder, Naganadel from Lost Thunder, as well as the new supporter Ends Resolve from Cosmic Eclipse. Now my question is, can this deck keep up with already established archetypes in standard format? We've got Mewtwo and Mew can pump out 300 damage for just 4 energy using Charizard GX's Flare Blitz. We've got Malamar moving up the ranks as well with the release of Cosmic Eclipse. It's got a ton of new tools to play with. Does Reshiram and Zekrom have the flexibility to compete with these powerhouse decks already established in standard format? I'm anxious to see. Up next at number 8 is Mimikyu with the Shadow Box ability, which reads, Pokemon GX that have any damage counters on them, both yours and your opponents have no abilities. Now, turning off abilities has always been really good in the Pokemon trading card game, but even more so now that Mewtwo and Mew Tag Team GX has asserted itself as one of the most dominant cards in both standard and expanded format. Just a single tick from a Shrine of Punishment or a spell tag, Distortion Door, can completely turn off Mewtwo and Mew's Perfection ability, or any Pokemon GX with an ability for that matter. Now, Mewtwo and Mew decks will probably start playing Stealthy Hood to accommodate for Mimikyu making their way into decks, so there is already a counter to this counter that exists in standard format, which makes life a little bit harder for Mimikyu, but Mysterious Treasure Searchable easily fits itself into a Malamar deck and could be a great tool to help against those Mewtwo and Mew decks. Coming in at number 7 is the new Tag Team supporter, Red and Blue. Tag Team supporters have 2 effects printed on them and are debuting in Cosmic Eclipse. Red and Blue lets you search your deck for a Pokemon GX that evolves from one of your Pokemon in play and then put it onto that Pokemon, evolving it. And then you can also discard 2 other cards from your hand in order to search your deck for up to 2 basic energy and accelerate them to that Pokemon you evolved. People are calling Red and Blue the saving grace for Dark Box decks in standard format. You get to evolve into your Weavile GX and slap 2 Darkness energy on it from the deck. Totally busted combo. I'm really looking forward to seeing how players use Red and Blue in their decks to accelerate energy. It's definitely a good card, and I love that it also doubles as a consistency card. Coming in at number 6 is Silvally GX. Now, somebody at the Pokemon Company must love Silvally because there are 9 different Silvally GXs in existence now, which just seems absurd to me. Like, there's only been so many years since Sun and Moon came out. How are there 9 different Silvally GXs, and why Silvally of all Pokemon? But anyways, this one's really good. It's got an ability, Disc Reload, which lets you fill your hand to 5 once during your turn. It's the same ability we saw on the Octillery from Breakthrough with Abyssal Hand, and that Octillery saw a ton of play. Now, interestingly, the Octillery didn't really see a lot of play until after Shaymin EX rotated. Shaymin EX really ate up that bench space and deck space and competed directly with Octillery for the same function. Similarly, Silvally GX is competing with Dedenne GX for bench space and deck space, and I'm wondering if we'll see more or less the same thing, especially since it's kind of difficult to search out basic non-GX Pokemon in standard format right now, where GX Pokemon are real easy to find. So Dedenne definitely more accessible than Silvally GX, but the ability is definitely strong, has a ton of potential, and I think it will find a home somewhere. Coming in at number 5 is everybody's favorite dessert-inspired Ultra Beast, Blacephalon. It's got an amazing attack, which pairs perfectly with Malamar decks. Fireworks Bomb for a Psychic and a Colorless lets you put 4 damage counters on your opponent's side of the field, and if they only have 3 prizes remaining, you get to put 12 damage counters on their board. Now, Malamar decks were already leaning super heavy into the whole sniping thing, with Giratina from Lost Thunder using Distortion Door, Spell Tags, Mew from Unbroken Bonds, and Espeon and Deoxys. Some Malamar decks were playing the Jinx to snipe damage. Now, Blacephalon is a straight upgrade on that function, and Snipe Wars are going to be all over the place with Malamar Mirrors, trying to avoid that 3 prize turn and trying to avoid a huge Fireworks Bomb. Getting to pull off the 3 prize Fireworks Bomb is like getting 2 cross divisions off throughout the course of the game. So an amazing card, an amazing effect, and it's going to change standard format with Malamar decks getting a huge bump thanks to the new Blacephalon. Chaotic Swell at number 4, and I love this card because it basically does nothing. It's a nothing stadium, except it eats other stadiums, which is super cool. Brand new function of the Pokemon trading card game. It reads, whenever either player plays a stadium card from their hand, discard that stadium. After discarding this one, the stadium had no effect. So super cool card. It just eats other stadiums. It destroys them. So if you're playing a Mewtwo and Mew deck and you don't want to see Power Plant, you could play a Chaotic Swell. And then when your opponent tries to play Power Plant, it gets discarded with the Chaotic Swell. And since you can only play one stadium from your hand during your turn, it means that by playing the Chaotic Swell, you pretty much guarantee your opponent's not going to play that troubling stadium that you don't want to see. Now, of course, there is resetting Whole Marshadow. It's the only way to bump stadiums other than stadiums themselves in standard format, so the resetting Whole Marshadow just got a lot more valuable. Other than that, there's no Field Blower or anything like that to easily dispose of the Chaotic Swell, so I think this card is going to be great for blocking cards like Lysander Labs in Malamar. Imagine you play the Chaotic Swell, and then of course the annoying Lysander Labs are not going to be coming into play easily. If you're playing Mewtwo and Mew, you could block Power Plants, and if you're playing any GX deck, you can eat up those Shrine of Punishments that you don't want to see. I think it's a great card, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how players incorporate it in their competitive decks. Free item-based search is incredible in the Pokemon trading card game, and it's even better when you get 2 things for the price of nothing. Tag Call does just that, getting you 2 tag team cards out of the deck for the low cost of nada. You can get yourself 2 tag team Pokemon, a tag team Pokemon, and a tag team supporter, or 2 tag team supporters. And there's a lot of cool tag team supporters to choose from. You get Cynthia and Caitlin to help you draw cards. You could get Red and Blue to evolve Pokemon and accelerate energy. You get Mallow and Lana to switch and heal. Or, of course, you could choose from any tag team Pokemon in your deck and get those guys into play as well. I love the flexibility of this card. It's a great consistency card, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how players incorporate it in their decks. Our runner-up for the best card in Cosmic Eclipse is Megalopunny and Jigglypuff Tag Team GX. This card's nuts. It's going to completely change the way the standard format is played. It's good against almost everything. It's good in almost everything. There are a million ways to play this card, and it's going to change the way standard format is played. It's got 2 amazing attacks. For 3 colorless energy, Jumping Balloon does 60 damage plus 60 more for each of your opponent's Pokemon GX or EX in play. And then Puffy Smashers GX for a colorless plus puts the defending Pokemon to sleep, and then if you have 4 extra energy attached, you get to snipe 200 damage. So if your opponent has 3 Pokemon GX in play for 3 colorless energy, Jumping Balloon gets to deal 240 damage, easily one-hit KOing Pikarom, and Pikarom always has 3 Pokemon GX in play. Mewtwo and Mew decks always have at least 3 as well. And if they have 4 with all those Dedennis that they run, you're going to be able to one-hit KO Mewtwo and Mews as well. Now, the crazy thing is that it goes well in Mewtwo and Mew decks to KO other Mewtwo, Mews, and Pikaroms and the like. And then it also can be put in Pikarom decks to KO other Pikaroms and Mewtwo and Mews and stuff. And then you could also put it in your Welder deck to help combat those other decks as well. And then you could also put it in your Malamar deck to help combat those tag team decks. So it goes good in any deck that accelerates energy, because the best decks in format, both Pikarom and Mewtwo and Mew decks, load their fields with Pokemon GX. And that's just the crazy thing about this card, is that it directly impacts those top decks and how they're going to be played. Mewtwo and Mew played 4 copies of Dedenne. It always floods its field with Dedenne. Pikarom always floods its field with Dedenne. And now this card has come to combat that, and I'm really stoked to see how it impacts our standard format. Without a doubt, the best card from Cosmic Eclipse is Great Catcher. Great Catcher lets you discard 2 cards from your hand in order to gust up one of your opponent's Pokemon GX or EX from the bench into the active position. I think this is the gust card we all wanted but didn't have in standard format. Custom catchers can be cumbersome, tough to play. They take up 4 deck spaces. With Great Catcher, you can play 1, 2, 3, or even 4. You can play as many as you want, and they're just as effective. So I think that's really cool. And I love that this card is balanced. It doesn't bring up non-GX or non-EX Pokemon, so it doesn't really mess with setup decks and their viability. You also have to have some amount of hand presence in order to play this card. You have to have at least 3 cards in hand in order to play it, so you can't just get stamped to 1 and then rip the game-winning Great Catcher. You have to have at least 3 cards in hand in order to play it. So a really cool card. I think it's going to go great in Malamar decks, which previously couldn't really afford to play custom catchers, but they will love to have a Great Catcher or 2 or 3 in the deck. I think it's also going to go really good in GX decks as well. I mean, GX decks get even more powerful with the ability to easily target down whichever GX they want to on the opponent's side of the field. Imagine a Mewtwo and Mew deck getting to target down whoever they want with Flare Blitz very early can be absolutely devastating. Raichu and Raichu using Lightning Ride GX on whichever GX it wants to attack. Also very powerful. I think a lot of decks are going to play this card, which is why it's our top card from Cosmic Eclipse. That about does it for our top 10 list. Thank you all so much for watching the video. Make sure to like the video, sub to the channel, ring that bell. Check me out on Twitch, where I stream every single weekday, twitch.tv/TrickyJim. And if you're looking to pick up cards from Cosmic Eclipse, make sure to check out fullgripgames.com. Take it easy. Peace.